Some hotels will have a huge parking, especially the convention hotels, the city hotels. They may be having a parking as a cost center, as a profit center, where they are charging for the parking services. So the parking, the usually has prescribed the P&L, which their revenue is split into self parking revenue, valet parking, and other revenue. So self parking means where the guest has to park by themselves. You are just charging only a rental, only an entry fee and exit fee. Maybe it depends on the time, or maybe buy a subscription. So it, in some hotels it may happen that you are giving a monthly contract to the third parties to come, let them use the car parking facilities. Then the cost, then the revenue will come here as well, or it can be a per time charge. Then you have valet parking services, which are usually availed by the VVIPs, or by rich, or by groups, where they leave the car at the entrance and the valet has to park them into the car parking. So there is a special charge for that, and then the car park valet parking fee will be uh, cost will be collected in this particular revenue department. There may be other revenue, means like putting the air cleaning, car cleaning expenses, or maybe maybe doing a small of automobile repair, gasoline expenses. If the hotel is prescribing these gasoline, then that item will also be charged to this line item in other revenues. Then you have service charge as well, if it's non-mandatory, or if it's mandatory for the guest to pay. And then lastly, as any other department, you have allowances. If you are giving an allowances to recover any services, that it will be shown as a deduction from the revenue. The specific expenses for this department are not many. The specific department for this are very not there usually, except the rent, which is the cost associated with the additional parking space or additional rent that you may have to borrow in case of like group services, which you have to pay to other company, which you may be using from the other hotels. Then the cost will be going into this line item. And it can also include the car washing expenses or the repair expenses, tools which you are using for generating the revenue of car wash and the car repair and the gasoline. And those expenses will go into these lines, cost of sales, and also in the other line items. So this was the parking revenues, fairly simple. Then you have the other like a generic, these are the only departments which are specified by the hotel. But there can be other operating departments, such as guest laundry, where you may have a laundry department, where you may have a laundry revenue coming from this usage by the guest. You may have swimming pool expense, swimming pool revenue. You may have tennis shop. You may have other recreation facilities, a business center, a marina, or other departments. So if they are significant in the revenue as a revenue share, then the hotel can consider to have a separate P&L for these items. But if they are not significantly higher in terms of profitability or in terms of revenue, then you can combine them into other operating department, a generic department, where you are combining all the revenue. You can split the line items so that you can show all the lines, and the expenses can be combined. So the only downside is you're not able to get the profitability of each department. But remember, you are combining them here because they are not significantly higher in terms of profitability. So the revenue will be in each separate line item. You can use that. The expenses will remain the same as any other department that we have already discussed. So that will give other expenses you can put as, so that you can have some kind of like cost of sales. So you can put this as a cost of sales direct if you have any um, any expenses like this into each individual department, whatever other expenses they are spending in the department specific. And then you will be able to get the profitability of the department. So this is usually the other operating departments. In the next video, we will look at what are the operating matrices that are prescribed by usually for other operating.